Auto sector in focus, Bajaj Auto in focus. Rakesh Sharma, the Executive Director, joins us this morning. Mr. Sharma, pleasure to speak with you here at NDTV Profit, and thank you for giving us your time. Let's come to the numbers that we've seen for October. And, let's start with what's happened with two-wheelers. A bit of a slide there, something that you were expecting? Or was this a little disappointing when you compare to what you had penciled in for the month of October?
Good morning. Actually, the outcome in October has been a, smashing success, frankly speaking. Yeah, because let me just decode the October outcomes as per how we are looking at it within the company. Foremost, the important thing is to look at retails and retails during festive. The billing numbers, which is what we say is the sales to the dealers or wholesale, there's the time when we've gone into a destocking mode because we were stocking up in August and September, and then there is a surge in retails because of the festive, and therefore the billing to dealers drops in October and will continue to drop a little bit also in November because we are all preparing for servicing the high peaks of the festive demand. Now, to understand how the festive has gone, it is important to compare apples and apples. So it's important, the right thing is to compare this year's festive, retails in this year's festive with retails in last year's festive, which are different calendar days. This year, it's from 3rd October to, let's say, 31st October, though there is a little bit of a festive in the north, which will in the, Bihar and UP, which will continue. And last year was 15th October to 12th November. So to understand how the industry and how the company has performed, we look at festive sales, festive retail sales in the festive period this year and in the festive period that year, last year. So now when I look at this frame of reference, it's been a smashing month actually, both for us, and I think the industry has also got lifted up with particularly the last 2 weeks of performance. Our area of focus, as you know, is the 125cc plus segment, which is almost 53 odd percent of the motorcycle industry. We have grown in retail terms upwards of 20% in that, and at overall retail sales has growth is there of about 11-12%. We have sold 200,000 plus Pulsars, and our overall festive sales is post-COVID the highest ever festive sales we have recorded. In our premium end, we have had the highest ever sales of both Triumph, and when you put Triumph and KTM together, then the premium bikes have done very well. At retails of 36,000 units or so, Chetak sales have also recorded an all-time high. And finally, the three-wheelers has come in with quite a smashing performance with retails of almost 56,000 units. You know, the previous high was somewhere around 45, 48. In that, there is an all-time high retails of 7,000 units of EV three-wheelers, which is all driving our towards leadership in that segment too. So actually, just looking at the billing data, as we call it, really clouds the thing. In fact,
so let me come on that point, Mr. Sharma, because you make an important point. The way you look at data, I suppose, matters. And today, perhaps the way the street is looking at the data as far as Bajaj Auto is concerned is we are seeing an 8% drop in domestic two-wheeler sales year on year. You're saying that is the sales to dealers, retail sales are even better, but it seems like it's exports that have driven this month's sales. And if I look at it in view of what you said in your con call after your last numbers, where you looked at festive sales outlook a little dimmer than what the street is expecting, how do I juxtapose the two? It's becoming difficult to get a clear picture. Is the two-wheeler auto industry under pressure or not?
Well, we have always said that the way to look at the market is retail sales. Billing sales is all about, every company, including ours, has their own approach to building up stock and managing stocks in the channel. And that doesn't reflect what is actually happening at the ground level. So, in our internal discussions as well, or when we talk to analysts or to the media, our primary focus is always on how retail sales is happening. And that is all we are doing. Now, the only thing which is different this month is that the frame of reference is comparing retail sales of this month with the festive period of last year. Because if I simply compare October 24 retails with October 23 retails, you will find that our growth is in 30% plus. Because last year in October, there was only the Shera and Diwali fell in November. So we are comparing like for like. And in that, so this is nothing new. It is always, if we have to understand the industry, it's important to understand the ground level consumption, and that is actually suggesting that the festive did start slow. The Dashera run up to the Dashera was a bit slow. We exited quarter two a bit slow, and our annual outlook was between 6 to 8% growth for the industry. It was dipping down to 5 to 6%. But the last couple of weeks in the Diwali markets, particularly, have been smashing. And that has lifted the whole industry. It has obviously lifted our performance up. And as a result of which, I think the forecast going ahead is back to, a healthy 6 to 8%.
Okay.
So I
No,
think
no,
the industry
that's
is
an
in good
important
shape.
point, Mr. Sharma. Can I just come back to you on it? So the forecast, which was 1 to 2% after the numbers were out, the quarterly numbers were out for Bajaj Auto, and now that you have seen how festive has paired through, is back from 1 to 2% to 6 to 8%. Am I understanding this correctly?
Quite frankly, I don't know where and what this number of 1 to 2% is. We have
So
always been
has scared the market, this 1 to 2% number, and it's quoting you from the con call. So this, which is why I want to just put it into perspective.
No, it may have been for, there are many questions which are addressed. Now, if people are selective, then I cannot do anything about it. But it could have been, the September month, it could have been a week into the festive. I'm not sure exactly what that 1 to 2%, but we had felt that the growth will be between 5 to 8%. I think that is a point which we had been making. And in fact, the last 2 weeks, what is more important actually is how things stand now. And how things stand now is, given the flourish of the last 2 weeks, I think it's been a very, very good festive period.
That's an important clarification from Mr. Sharma. It was always 5 to 7%, and the last 2 weeks of festive period have been very, very good. Is it possible for you to quantify it, Mr. Sharma, on how the last 2 weeks have been? And then I'll just add one more question to it, is do you see this sustaining? Is this a festive bump? Which, of course, in the entire industry, you see a bump during festive period and then you sort of peter out. What is the kind of numbers that you see sustaining through?
As I said, I quantified it by saying that in our area of focus, which is the 125cc plus segment, in this 30-day festive period, compared to the same period, similar period last year, our growth in retail terms is above 20%. And at an overall level, it is, 11 or 12% in motorcycles. In electric vehicles, it is in triple digits. Now, so that is what the festive is. Now, obviously, a festive period, if the average sales in a month is about 8.5, 9% for the year, arithmetically speaking, the festive period is about 12%. So obviously, there is advancement or postponement of sale, which bumps up the sale like in the festive, like you're saying. But when you start to see the festive could have gone worse, and then that would have put some question marks about the months to follow. But I think the customers coming back to the purchase cycle in such strong numbers indicates that after the sort of dip which is expected in November and December, things should be looking good, back to the kind of forecast we were doing of 6 to 8% for the fiscal, for the industry.
Got it. So, Mr. Sharma, one would presume, and good morning, and one would presume, or am I presuming it correctly when I hear you right now, is that forget October because that would have two festivals bump up, but the trend seems to suggest that October plus November, or October, November, December put together could well have this 6 to 8% average growth rate YOY over the OND quarter of last year. Would that be something that you would believe could happen?
Yeah, for the industry, I would say that it should be in that zone.
And for you?
Difficult to predict entire exactly, but a good festive brings back, a slipping estimate which was slipping a little bit. It has brought it back very, very strongly. And I would say, yes, it is, we should be looking at, and it's important also to, if we have to understand the industry, to not just look at, 1 week or 2 weeks and be so sensitive to that. These trends unfold over a few weeks and months. So just taking a week out and seeing how it is growing is very, very misleading. So, but I think what you're saying, I would sort of support that kind of a thing. I would, in fact, extend it to the whole fiscal rather than, because again, you will see in November, there will be an impact. December is a low month because, people sometimes wait for the new model year, etc. And therefore, it is important to, at least from our perspective, it is important to look at the next 6 months. And this kind of exit from April to October creates confidence for the next 6 months.
Just one point, Mr. Sharma, on market share. So in October, at least in the domestic segment, there seems to have been some slide in market share. Do you see that coming back, buoyed by new launches? What is the outlook there?
See, again, the market share, I would, even for our internal analysis, I would wait till middle of November or end of November, frankly speaking, because the best way to look at market share is from Vahan. And the crush of sales is so high in the last 3 or 4 days that it does take time for Vahan to be updated. But having said that, but our estimate in our chosen segment, which is 53% of the industry, which is motorcycle industry, which is the 125cc plus segment, like I said, we've grown retails by 21%. And sooner or later, it will reflect in Vahan, like it will for everyone else. We believe that this part of the industry has grown less than 21%. It is, of course, grown, but less than 21%. And because we have grown faster, I would actually say that we have garnered some market share over there.
Okay, fair enough. We'll wait for those numbers. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma, for coming in and speaking to us. And we'd love to have another opportunity to talk to you when we have clearer data on the last 3 or 4 days, since you've mentioned that the last 3 or 4 days have been important. Rakesh Sharma, ED of Bajaj Auto there. The stock feeling some heat, but then frankly, so is the entire market. I mean, it's really looking worrisome.